Greetings, Dragon Ball fans, and welcome to part 4 of a What If suggested by Salaal Khan, where we follow a certain big bold bodyguard's journey after being arbitrarily spared by his prince, Vegeta IV, way back in the Saiyan Saga. Previously, Nappa escaped Earth to a slightly different Frieza planet because of some glaring plot holes. He met up with a healed Vegeta and was instructed to create a diversion so that the prince could escape to Namek in pursuit of those Dragon Balls. However, he had seen the way Vegeta had looked at him, though, twice now. The guy clearly had no interest in Nappa's well-being, so Nappa himself set off that distraction an hour early and took his own little trip. A trip that took more than the normal 4 days because of, plot requirements. Maybe a cosmic storm? Well, either way, he had some more time to think about his recent brushes with death at the hands of his only compatriot. Also, remembering how those pesky Earthlings had foxed their scouters, he set about pushing his energy down as hard as he could. Once Nappa arrived, he conveniently ran into Dory, Dende and company. Recalling Goku's apparent power of friendship, he chose a less violent path and alerted them to the various dangers of the Frieza Force. He was then taken to meet Guru, who took a peek under the proverbial hood and almost had that heart attack early. Wait, do Namekians even have hearts? Questions for later. With his memories now refreshed thanks to Guru's mental dredging, Nappa was forced to come to terms with the fact that, like those he had trodden on his whole life, he too was nothing but another stepping stone to, another day in Lord Frieza's service for Vegeta? After another plot-required span of training and learning how to meditate with Nail and Guru, he met up first with the reluctant allies, Krillin, Gohan and Bulma, before heading off to meet Vegeta himself. After dealing with Dodoria, they then got back to Guru, where one by one they had all had their potentials unlocked. Well, not Vegeta. As much as he'd like a little pick-me-up, he's far too angry for it to work, as opposed to Nappa, who's more resigned to his fate at this point. After devising a somewhat cunning plan to separate Frieza from his balls, Nappa went off with Captain Ginyu, Recoome and Guldo to thin out the herd a little. Goku's timely arrival actually made that whole thing go a lot smoother than Nappa had expected. With Guldo losing his head, Recoome vanishing in a bloom of mouth-sourced light, and Ginyu succumbing to his own body-swapping shenanigans, Nappa and Goku then returned to Frieza's ship, with the latter doing his best dabbing Christian Bale Batman impression of the now ex-captain. Frieza may have thought that it was a bit presumptuous of Ginyu, waltzing in and dragging Vegeta away, but his delight at the thought of more Dragon Balls was too good of a distraction. Oh yes, it's all coming together nicely. If Ginyu can wring more out of Vegeta, then all the better. Better not kill him, though. That would ruin the Emperor's fun. Good job, Nappa, was it? He says, and with a dismissive wave he tells the man to go watch the interrogation. He might learn something from the esteemed captain's methods. Berta and Jace follow, but when they step into the obviously not an interrogation room, their confusion brings them to a sudden stop. Berta then stops breathing for a moment when Nappa's arm wraps around his neck and squeezes. Jace doesn't stop breathing, but the dent in the wall of the healing room likely won't buff out. Goku had been fishing around in a pouch of some sort when they had all stepped in, and now, moving away from the heap at his feet, in the form of Jace, he has a small green bean between his fingers. Nappa again shrugs noncommittally, then Goku tosses it at Vegeta. After some confusion, Nappa tells him to eat it, and, oh wow, screw healing chambers. This isn't part of the plan, the prince says, glaring back and forth between the two Ginyu enforcers on the ground, and the two largest affronts to his pride, short of groveling in front of Frieza. Nappa puts his hands up and then goes to check outside the corridor, before closing the door. I'm improvising, Vegeta, Nappa replies, then reintroduces the prince to Goku. You remember him, don't you, Vegeta? Goku examines and discards his counter while Nappa fills Vegeta in, and it just doesn't make any sense. How could Kakarot, even with Zenkai's, come remotely close to Ginyu's power? 100 Gs. For 6 days? That's it? Well, I guess that's better than having some crusty old Namek touch you. Nappa is also impressed by that little tidbit. Maybe, when all this is over, they can check out that ship. 100 Gs sounds pretty painful, but the guy's a terrible liar. He had been sweating profusely in his fresh set of fancy new Saiyan armor as Goku had blustered around in the command chamber. I wonder if anyone ever translates 100 Gs from Earthly to a Saiyan frame of reference. 100, Vegetan Gs is 1,000 Earth Gs after all. Vegeta shakes his head in an attempt to clear the growing thoughts of myths and legends, and heads over to the sink to wash off the grime and dirt he'd accumulated. Can't be possible. He can't be a Super Saiyan. No, not him. Nappa interrupts his inner monologue, though, and reminds him that he still needs to look the part. What, to be dragged back into Frieza's room? So undignified. You can't honestly expect him to let this low-class trash drag him around like that, can you? No, no way. He's done being a puppet. He is Vegeta. He is their prince. Nappa stares at him coldly for a moment, and then says, "Not any more, Vegeta." When Vegeta doesn't back down, Nappa steps closer. "I'm no expert, Vegeta, but Goku here," he glances at the man, "is at least as strong as I am." Vegeta stares at Nappa for a moment, then says that it's not possible. What's not possible? You can't both be. It's not fair. It's not right. It should be him. If anyone was going to become a Super Saiyan, it should be Vegeta. His royal blood, his... I don't know about that Super Saiyan thing. Don't much care. But we've got a plan, and we're going to stick to it. Okay, Vegeta? Vegeta just mumbles something vaguely agreeable, and they make to leave. That Nail guy will apparently be powering up pretty soon, so they need to go tell Frieza to chase him down. You remember that part, don't you, Vegeta? Getting beaten by the big green meanie? You're enjoying this, aren't you, Nappa? Vegeta says, glaring up at his former minion. Nappa smiles and nods. Absolutely, Vegeta. It feels, I don't know, to really know someone's got your back. It's a bit weird at first, but you'd be surprised how easy you'd get used to it. And it's kinda nice, he says, looking down at the man. But then, you wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Vegeta? When the prince says nothing, Nappa continues. Imagine how far we Saiyans could have come if we'd watched each other's backs. Remember that, Bardock guy? Low-class trash that he was, his team was as close to unbeatable as it got. If I recall, they had a habit of not just running off and doing their own thing. They would fight together. Maybe they had the right idea all along, Vegeta. He suddenly stops and looks over at Goku. Oh, you and Raditz were his kids, weren't you? Shame Raditz never learnt that lesson. Not that we'd have listened. Goku can only shrug, not really knowing much about his dad, but hearing that he seemed to care about his fellow warriors did put a smile on his face. He looked over at the somewhat ragged prince, who was doing his best not to stare at the floor. Hey, Nappa, Goku says, pointing at Jace and Berter. Wouldn't Frieza ask about these two? Nappa stares at him and them for a moment, then just shrugs. If Vegeta's all beat up, maybe I told them to stay here to watch him. He nods over at the prince. Frieza either leaves or he doesn't. Let's let the guy freshen up a bit, eh? No, don't trust him, Nappa says after a moment. He'll do something stupid, like kill them. Oh, Goku says. Sorry, Vegeta. Why does that matter? Vegeta asks. They're already unconscious, so if anyone was actually watching the Scouters, they'd be in here by now. It's safer to just kill them. Oh man, Nappa says. This planning stuff is so complicated. It was so much easier in the beat people up phase. Vegeta, who has brightened considerably at the thought of being clean and comfortable, says that yes, he wants to kill them for various reasons, but the most important one is that they might wake up and warn someone. Then all this fancy scheming and plotting will have been for nothing, and Frieza will, well, you know. He fails to mention that both Jace and Berter are probably still stronger than he is, despite his recent recoveries. Nappa seems lost in thought, mulling this over, while Goku, having lost the stomach for wanton slaughter somewhere back in Dragonball, looks on with a pinched face. Just killing them because? That doesn't seem very nice. They can't defend themselves, and they won't ever get the chance to change their ways, will they, Nappa? He's right, Nappa says. They live for now. If they cause trouble, though, he stares squarely at Vegeta for a moment. You can handle them, right, Vegeta? Of course I can. Nappa gives him a half-smile, and then hands Goku back the scouter he'd ditched. What do I need that for? Goku asks. Because you're the captain now. Oh yeah, I am the captain now. They leave the medical chamber, with Vegeta's eye twitching slightly as he watches them go. He's trusting his life to these imbeciles? Even if they are, Super Saiyans, he's not exactly filled with confidence. The two of them report to Frieza that Vegeta only knows about the ball taken by the big green meanie. And where exactly is Vegeta? Oh, he's alive, just kind of incapacitated at the moment. Ah yes, we all felt the thud, Frieza says. I only have the one ship, Ginyu, and I'm not setting foot in one of those stinking Saiyan pods. Sorry, Goku starts to say, then shifts back to his Batman impression. Sorry about that. And he bows like he remembers the princess he rescued way back before the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament. It's a curtsy, if you're wondering. Goku just curtsied. Does Nappa's eye twitch? No, he's far too busy admiring the 70-inch plasma screen TV that's on the wall. Frieza, though, looks at Goku for a moment. Then, after he coughs and says something about his body being funny to get used to, the Emperor shrugs and asks where the native is. Fortunately, Goku's scouter activates, and after he jumps a bit in surprise, he points in the direction indicated. That way. That way what? Frieza says, an eyebrow raised. Silly human narrator, Frieza doesn't have eyebrows. Hey look, Goku's in a tough spot. Goku flounders for a bit, saying, that way, oh, Lord Frieza. Does it come with uppity Saiyan tendencies? Frieza asks coldly. Goku just stares at him, wide-eyed. Your new body, Frieza says after a moment. Get yourself under control, Ginyu. I can't have my best and brightest showing. Nappa's barely stifled cough draws an eye. Then Frieza continues. As I was saying, get your body under control, Captain, or you'll be looking for a new one. Yes, sir, Lord Frieza, sir. Frieza then holds out his hand for a long moment until Goku removes his scouter and hands it over. You stay here, Ginyu, Frieza says. Make sure you and Vegeta are where I want you. Yes, Lord Frieza, Goku says, and does that dab thing again. And get yourself under control, or else. Nappa, you come with me. Nappa looks back and forth between Goku and Frieza once, then says, Yes, sir. As they move away from Frieza's ship, Nappa can feel some rapid shifts in power behind them. Nothing spectacular or scouter triggering, but it seems that Goku is cleaning house a bit. He can also sense the others moving closer, just as planned. Turning his attention ahead, Nappa can feel Nail, waiting there, in the middle of nowhere. And he may be strong, but can't he feel how much stronger Frieza is? Even Nappa, with his infantile energy sensing, can clearly see that. When they arrive, Frieza demands the balls, and Nail refuses. Frieza then tells Nappa to search, while he convinces the native to talk, and that whole thing happens. Well, it happens until it gets interrupted. Seeing his friend get beat on, Nappa, against his better judgment, is about to insert himself between the dueling pair, when Frieza suddenly stops and looks around at the sky. When he asks what's happening and where the suns went, Nail laughs through the pain and says that it's too late. Frieza then drops Nail and turns to fly back, but his path is suddenly blocked by a mountain. He is also on the ground, having been kicked from above by Nappa. Uppity, goddamned Saiyans, he knew he couldn't trust them. That's it. When he gets back to a Frieza Force planet, even Ginyu in his shiny new body is just gonna have to get a new one. He wants all of them dead. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. Every Saiyan must die. While mulling over how he'll kill Vegeta, he proceeds to utterly wreck Nappa, and then chucks him at Nail, who could barely stand up anyway. Frieza then remembers the sky, and while muttering numerous words that we shall not repeat here, he blasts off. Nappa and Nail lay on the ground for a while, unable to move, staring up at the sky. Nappa is happy enough that he's still alive, despite the gaping chest wound, but he's also almost sorry he can't do what he set out to. Hopefully they've done the wishing, and Nail interrupts him, saying that someone else is coming. Oh, goody. It's another Namekian. Oh, can they heal us like Dende can? Piccolo arrives above them and lands, seeing only a beat-up Nail and Nappa. He walks over to Nappa to kill him, but Nail says to stop. Oh, this wasn't that one's doing? King Kai had mentioned something about Nappa maybe trying to help, but he didn't buy it then, and he's not buying it now. This guy had killed him, after all. People don't change, Fine, benefit of the doubt, but only because this guy vouches for him. The conversation still comes around to fusion, though, and after Piccolo helps Nail stand back up, he is left staring in mild disgust, as Nail grasps Nappa's arm, saying that he'll see him round. Nappa looks on confused, but says, okay. The fusion done, Nappa is left reeling. He can still feel Nail, but wow, that's a nice boost. and Piccolo, or Nail, or whatever his name is now faced with both sides of the picture. He can clearly see Nappa gleefully killing Tien, and then blasting himself. He can also see Nappa sitting on Guru's chamber floor, crying like a little boy. God damn it, Nappa. Piccolo hoists him up, and they fly off towards the ship. What greets them there is not pretty. The ship has a rather large hole in it. Vegeta is a crumpled mess. Sopra is several messes, and Frieza is in the process of creating an ever larger crater as he beats Goku into the ground while screaming all manner of obscenities involving monkey reproductive habits. Piccolo spots Gohan, Krillin, and Dende cowering behind a rock, so he drops down to dump Nappa, along with his weighted clothing. Dende is happy to see that Nail is, not quite Nail anymore, but sad to say that Guru has passed, and the Dragon Balls are inert. But how had their plan made him so strong? And why is Gohan calling him Mr. Piccolo? Wait, where is that Piccolo guy anyway? He demanded to come to Namek, so they'd skipped wishing Chaozu's body back for now. Oh, this is Piccolo? But he can feel Nail. Through the pain, Nappa says that Nail is still here. They just fused. Piccolo smiles at Dende, then nods over to Nappa and asks Dende to please heal the big guy, while he goes to deal with Frieza. And as Piccolo slaps the first form Frieza into the ground next to Goku, and Dende makes Nappa glow slightly, we will bring Part 4 to a close. Do you think Goku has survived Frieza's rage-fueled assault? What about Vegeta? Will Piccolo be less cocky with Nail's knowledge of Frieza, courtesy of Nappa? Has our alliterative duo of Nappa and Nail come to an end? And where are Jace and Berta through all this? Well, find out next time on Dragon Ball. What if Vegeta spared Nappa?